Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
Party's going on. Thank God it's Friday. Keep the heads ringing.
Friday edition of the program. Made it. One piece. He's Corey Aslan's Wake Up War Chant, brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. There are 3 great locations in College Town, Central, Township, and Madison Social. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio. Corey, how are you, friend?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. We made it to the end of the week.
We did, man. It's just 1 week closer to kickoff. I've been slacking here. We've missed several days on the countdown. There's been a lot of good guys who could have done nicknames on. But then again, when you drop gems like Eraser, maybe we're just good. Maybe we'll kind of take some time off. We don't need to do
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to be something we try to do every day. We don't have to, force that.
52 days, though, Corey.
Who do we got for 52? Is there 52?
I don't know. I'm checking that out right now. I don't think so.
Brian Stork?
Sweet Prince. Miss that guy. 52. Let's see if we got a 52 on here. We do not have a 52. If we would have done it yesterday, it would have been Jalen Parks.
Okay.
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, but Rec, W-R-E-C-K.
Oh, too easy.
And we do it again. I don't know how it comes to me. It just does. It's a gift.
It is a gift, man. You're the best, bro. You're the best. But anyhow, with that said, man, let's get back to the best part of the program. Corey's Top 40.
Across the...
Yeah, that's right. Let's get back to it, man. So we unveiled 40 through 31. I have the videos done up until the top 10, but we're not going to go that far up because we don't want to do a spoiler. Again, we're going to do your picks. I don't want to do any of the composite nonsense.
Right. Sure. Nobody cares about the composite, right?
No offense, guys. Love you guys, but come on. So, as we begin the second rung, which would be what, 21 through 30.
Correct.
All right, man. You want to go ahead and write? I got it in front of me as well.
Sure. No, I got it. So I'm counting down from 30.
Right. Counting up or counting down?
I'm going to count down from 30 to 21.
Okay.
So, obviously, so I'm counting at 30. Remember, these are people that might play, might not, but there's a chance they could have a sizable impact on We're getting to those guys now where you think they're going to be contributors.
Yeah, how would you categorize like the rungs of these players? Like the top 5 or what? Like
the top
franchise?
5 are the guys, yeah, they're NFL players. You think they're stars. They're all ACC guys. They're guys that really could dictate 2 or 3 wins.
By themselves.
Not by themselves, but could have an impact. Their war could be, wins above replacement could be 2 wins or so, 2 or 3 wins.
In 6 through 10, we would say probably
1.5 war. And then after that, it's, you don't know. There might be somebody in there that like you have at like 14 or 16, but ends up being, I think if we'd have done this before 2013, I don't know how high Jalen Ramsey would have been.
Right.
Or Darby, or, that whole team was NFL guys. So there was plenty of NFL guys, or Mario Edwards. I don't know how high you would have thought those guys would end up being, and they end up being, really impact players. So I think this one, 40 to 30, are just guys that could get on the field and make a few plays every now and again. I think when you get to 30 to 20, you're talking about guys that could potentially start most of the season, and be potentially all ACC guys if they break out.
But this is like that round in the NFL draft where what it's like, 53% of NFL players are drafted in the 3rd round. It's one of those weird. This is like one of these weird in between parts of the countdown.
So 30 to 21. I think so it's 10 guys. Obviously, I think 4 or 5 of these guys are going to have a real impact.
Okay,
but maybe not my list, just the composite overall. But here we go.
This is yours.
This is my list. So number 30, I have Big Baby.
That's Baby-On Johnson.
Baby-On Johnson got Big Baby. I think there's a chance he's definitely going to play. And I think, even if it's mop-up duty, which I think he'll get on the field, I think he can work himself into the rotation. But even if he doesn't, he'll get some mop-up duty, some backup duty, and that will portend well for next year.
And let's be honest, he's backing up Eberle at center, and then he'll probably swing at both guard spots. And those are, Dickerson and Minshew are guys that have battled injuries. So you're not far away.
Offensive line, man.
You're not far
from
getting on the
29 is Ricky Aguayo. Which, enough said. He's not a great kicker, but he's a kicker.
Has anyone ever had such a great debut and then just underperformed or just been underwhelming ever since. I mean, think about what he did against Ole Miss and, opening up the 16th season in Orlando.
6 field goals, right?
Amazing.
No, I mean, they were all 26
There was a couple 40-yarders in there.
Yeah, okay.
He peppered a couple 40-yarders
Also,
of
that
pressure.
says a lot about the offense, but we don't need to get into that. They're having to settle for 6 field goals.
Let it go. He's gone. He won't hurt us
28,
anymore.
Josh Brown. Not real sure where I stand on it. It's a hard deal with the linebackers because none of them have played at all.
You're so many in the list already.
I know.
You guys put so many.
I think there's 5 on the list, and literally none of them have played. Like I was looking up Josh Brown. He's made 5 tackles in his career, and he might be a starter.
I think
Kalen Brooks obviously hasn't made a tackle. Yeah. Emmett Rice has like maybe 25 in his career.
Yeah.
None of these guys have made a dent because they were obviously playing behind the stars. Jacob Pugh, Matthew Thomas, and Roderick Huskins. So it's hard to get
How
on
can
the
you
field.
get on the field in front of those guys?
So that's really interesting, the linebackers. And there'll be a few more on this list. Actually, there's one more in my top in this little window here.
Yeah.
So, 27, we got Trey McKitty, who I have at 27, but I think there's a chance he could be 10 to 12 by the time the season's over. Like, I think there's a chance he could be a big-time weapon. Yeah. I definitely think that he will be by the end of his career because he's just such a physical special kind of freak athlete guy that can move and is big. And in this day and age, a tight end like that is great. DeKalen Brooks, 26. We all had him around the same, and it's the same deal. I don't know if he's going to be great or any good, but 3 of these linebackers need to find a way to get on the field and make an impact. 25, I have Jaden Woodby. I think I had him lower than everybody else. I think everybody else had him a little higher. I'm just a little hesitant about even a talented guy. I'm a little hesitant about a true freshman. But he's talented, safety, got here in the spring, so he's already got a leg up. Cyrus Fagan, haven't seen much from him. He played a little bit at the end of last year, played sparingly, didn't really make an impact, but he did start to get on the field once they were allowed to play freshmen.
Once a resolution was passed through Congress that allowed it to happen.
Yeah, so and I think they expect big things from him. I think he will fight for a starting spot and might start. Cole Minshew, 23. Might be a little low. It's hard with these. Where do you rank a right guard that's probably going to start?
Right.
What impact is he going to have? Or as long as he's healthy, it'd be good. Dontavius Jackson, 22. He's got the most experience of any of the linebackers coming back, but he's never really has he made a mark in his 2 years.
Which is like being this the skinniest fat kid at fat camp or whatever, pretty much.
Yeah, the tallest little person, the most honest man in jail.
My boss once called us into an office, and he wanted us to do
boss,
better.
You're talking about Gene Williams?
No, that's King Williams.
Right,
my previous boss. And Dothan brought us into the office and was like, listen, we need to start stepping up our game. And I'm like, hey, man, the guy that I replaced, I've done X, Y, and Z more than he has. He's like, comparing yourself to him is like calling yourself the tallest midget in a room. And I'm like, excuse me?
How dare you?
And everybody heard that. I'm like, you just said that in front of me? That's it's insensitive language. But anyhow, I'm here now. I'm happier.
Well, but still, I'm sure I've used that line before too. We say little person now.
You said little person. You said it properly though.
Well, I did on the show. Anyway, and then finally to round it out, a guy that again I think some people think he could be in the top 10, top 8, top 6 before this is all done. Tamorrion Terry, I have at 21. Just because, again, he's a freshman. We haven't seen it yet. He hasn't had to do it on the big stage. There's 3 receivers in front of him that I think have a chance to get more yardage, and Naquan, Keith Gavin, and DJ Matthews. But I think Tamorrion Terry will make an impact. And now we're talking about number 21 on the team. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal.
How shocked would you be if he doesn't go out there and nab 30 for at least 650 and about half dozen touchdowns or 8 touchdowns?
I won't be shocked about the yardage. I'll be shocked if he's not, I think he'll have 30, 35 catches this year. I don't know what his yards will be or his touchdowns, but I would be shocked if he's not heavy in the rotation.
Yeah.
I just, I wouldn't. I think he's a talent. This is
again,
folks,
news.
the LeBourne run in the spring game, watch the wide receiver chasing him down to try to block. It's incredible. And he's 6'5". He's got the physical tools where you're like, okay, he might just be here another 2 years. He's that good. Right. We'll see if it ends up translating on Saturdays or Monday nights in the fall. But I just think he has a chance to be really special if he puts it all together.
I'm going to say this for that 10 players that you just listed. I think I'm not as high on McKitty as you guys are. I love McKitty's measurables, the way he looks. I mean, just you think of him out there running routes against linebackers, and it's going to be a tough sell. But I think Jaden Woodby is a little bit undervalued. I think Cyrus Fagan's a little bit undervalued. I think Tamorian Terry is. But this isn't me criticizing you. I think, if anything, if you're a Florida State fan, you have to be thinking, wow, if Corey Clark, and I'm not saying this facetiously, thinks there's 20 guys that are going to have a bigger impact than Tamorian Terry, there's going to be 24 guys that are going to have a bigger impact than Jaden Woodby, this is going to be a really good team this year. I mean, the talent is there.
If it's not good this year, I think it'll be really good next year because not many of the guys in front of them are seniors.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. I mean, it's a pretty young team. And, yeah, man, I think if we did this again in October, like the first week of October, it could be wildly shifted. And there's a chance, legitimately, that Terry could be top 6.
Do we do an autopsy? Do we do a postseason?
We don't, because I think we don't. Nobody probably
cares.
wouldn't want people to dive that deep into our preseason prognostications.
Those people. Hey, listen, there was a piece of mail stuck to the bottom of the bag that we didn't get to. Comes from T. Smith 1790. Aslan, Corey, wake up! Love the show. Still exiled here in South Carolina, surrounded by orange cat paws. You guys keep me sane, stuck behind them in traffic. I agree with Corey. It's absolutely remarkable the baseball recruiting class we have coming in, given the transition about to take place. Now with Mike Bell leaving, how do we plug that hole for what likely might be a one-year job? Somebody on the message board mentioned the first base coach. Do you guys know his background? What about Chip Baker? What does he get to stick around as director of baseball operations? Regardless, do you think a new coach from the outside might want his own guy doing that? How about this? Let's ask somebody who's dialed in and connected.
We're dialed in connected too, but somebody more on the national scale.
Okay, how about somebody that's smarter than me, as smart as Corey?
In college baseball, he's world smarter than me.
Okay.
If we took an IQ test, who's to say? Who's to say?
I got faith in you, man. My money's on that guy. On you. D1Baseball.com's managing editor Kendall Rogers is going to give us some insight into maybe where Florida State can go to fill in that hole, and also. In a year from now, they're going to need a new head coach. Maybe he can give us some insight into that as well. We'll talk to him next. It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. This show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. I'm Aslan, joined with Corey Clark, as always, and part of our weekly series. Here we go. We got 2 now. We're really picking up steam, Corey. We're cooking with gas now.
It's 2 in a row. That's almost a streak.
We went regional. We had David Teal, a big name in ACC circles. Now we're going to go national, man. Let's bring in Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball, dialed into everything you need to know in the college baseball world. Kendall, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It seems like it was about a month ago now that I was in Omaha, but that's a good thing. Hopefully I can get a little bit of time off here as the coaching carousel continues to spin out of control a little bit.
I was about to say, this is like the only time of the year where you can actually breathe, but it's been going full tilt, it feels like, ever since Omaha.
It really has, and what's crazy is, going through the College World Series, the coaching carousel was pretty quiet, but now you have some head coaches making moves. You've got some assistants such as Mike Bell making moves, and so that's kind of kept things active. It's good for the site, not so good for the sleep.
I hear you. What are your thoughts, I guess, when you heard Mike Bell interested in that Pittsburgh job and it was mutual, and then him ultimately getting it? Is that a good fit for both Bell and the program?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me when I look at the Mike Bell situation is, I think by Bell going after that job and getting that job, I think it kind of gives you an idea of probably what direction Florida State's going to go. I think a lot of people a month and a half ago probably would have said that they thought that, Mike Martin Jr. or Mike Bell both had pretty decent shots to get that head coaching job at Florida State once 11's done. And, obviously now, Mike Bell's certainly not going to get that job now, going to Pitt. And so that's probably the most important thing I kind of learned from all this is that obviously kind of X's Bell off the list, which is certainly lead me to believe it's going to be Junior. But as for Mike and Pitt, what a great hire for Pitt. I think Mike has certainly done a wonderful job at Florida State and did a good job at Oklahoma. They've had some bad luck with injuries over the last few years on the mound, but for the most part, he's done a pretty good job with the pitching. And I think Mike obviously recruits at a high level. He's very well respected in the coaching circles. And, I know Florida State has a lot to do with this, but, you're talking about a guy who hasn't won less than, hasn't won less than 40 games since 2008, since his first season in Oklahoma. That's a pretty good track record. So I think Pitt made a home run high with Mike Bell, and certainly Pitt is trying to make a stronger financial commitment across the board in the ACC. They're trying to get better football. They're trying to get better basketball. And now with baseball here, I've heard from a financial perspective, they made a commitment here too, and they made a good hire on Mike.
We'll talk about the candidacy of Mike Martin Jr. and Levin stepping down here after the 2019 season. But I guess ultimately, how tough is it going to be for Levin to find another pitching coach? I guess at this time of the year, with his future already kind of being written, that he's got one more season left. How tough will it be to find a quality coach to kind of come fill that role?
Well, I think right now, Clyde there in-house would probably be a pretty good option to move up at this point. But, it kind of leads you to another question is, if Florida State is going to promote Mike Martin Jr., then why not let Mike Martin Jr. and Mike Martin go out and hire the pitching coach that's going to take over when Jr. ascends the throne of that program? So it's really kind of a fascinating situation here in the sense that if they go out and just promote someone or promote the volunteer, then it makes it look like Florida State is pretty open with the process. If they go ahead and hire a big name pitching coach, that would give you the inclination that maybe Mike Martin Jr. is going to be the successor to his dad.
97.9 ESPN Radio's Wake Up War Chant. Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball joining us here on the program.
Kendall, you mentioned that it probably would have made sense if Mike Martin Jr. is going to be the next head coach to maybe get that, already get that squared away so he could make this hire. But he's not. And Stan Wilcox is on record saying it's going to be a national search. At this juncture in the college baseball landscape, what if Florida State, and trust me, there is a faction of Florida State fans that want to go in a different direction. Weirdly, to me, because they win all the time, but they haven't won a national championship, and there are some people that mistakenly think that Mike Martin Jr. only has the job because of his last name, and or he would only get the job because of his last name, not because he's been a really good assistant coach. But that said, what are the possibilities for Florida State if it's not Mike Martin Jr.? I know it's an appealing job, but I also know they're not going to get Pat Casey. They're not going to pay the kind of money to pull an elite coach. So what are the possibilities if it's not Mike Martin Jr.? And I'm not talking about names necessarily.
That's a great question. I think when you look around the country right now, look how hard it is for some of these premier programs to get these big name guys. I mean, Florida State to me is a terrific job, and I totally get what fans are saying. Like, we're Florida State, we should be able to aim at the highest possible and get a big name guy and not hire Mike Martin Jr. But I'll say this: when you look at Mississippi State, striking out with Jim Schlossnagle and guys like that, Tim Corbin. You look at South Carolina striking out with their big names. You look at Texas doing the same. Look at South Carolina. Look at Texas. South Carolina, got back to normal this year. Mark Kingston in his first season. Texas and David Pierce's second season gets the College World Series. So you don't necessarily have to have that ultra sexy hire, but that's what fans are going to expect. And so, as you fan, you think you're going to go out and hire one of the top 10 coaches in college baseball, you probably just need to forget about it because it's just not going to happen. It's just really, really hard to do unless you have a perfect situation. Or, as you mentioned, they're probably not going to pay that kind of money. But unless you offer somebody like $1.7 million, or Jim Schlossnagle, wanted $1.6 million to go to Mississippi State. I don't have insider info here, but I'm going to guess that Wilcox is probably not willing to give somebody $1.6 million to run the baseball program.
So then, do you think it's in my opinion, it has always been this: if they're going to hire an assistant coach to take over this program, like Florida did, I know it wasn't a Florida assistant coach, but they hired an assistant coach.
Sure.
So did Vandy. It's got to be Mike Martin Jr., right? I mean, they wouldn't go outside of that.
Right? At this juncture, that's what I would certainly lean towards. I mean, I'd probably put 70% on that at this point. I mean, here's the thing. If you look at other coaches in the region or around the country that you consider, Greg Lovelady still has some work to do, in my opinion, to get a Florida State job. And even then, when you're talking about a guy that was a super Florida State, that's kind of an odd fit. And so, some of the fits around the region that you would think would be obvious fits, there's some roadblocks there. And so I think from an assistant standpoint, I think Mike Martin Jr. is a guy that certainly would make a lot of really I've forged a relationship with him over the years, and he's a terrific man, and I have zero doubt he would do a really good job there. But I get it. I get it from Florida State's perspective. We're a great program. We're a premier program, and we should aim high, as high as possible. So I don't think you could really go wrong here. I just think it's one of those situations to where, be careful what you wish for if you go out and hire some mid-major head coach or something when you might have your guy right there already in the coach's office.
And Kendall, my last question was, they signed a pretty terrific recruiting class this past year.
Yes.
And to do that with so much uncertainty, because the kids that are coming here, they don't know who their head coach is going to be in 2 years, or maybe they do, but we don't know. But I'm sure might be told something. But what does that say maybe about the culture and the allure of Florida State baseball to land a top 10, top 8 recruiting class when these kids don't know who they'll be playing for in 2020?
Yeah, and I think it speaks to what Florida State is. I mean, I can tell you that if you talk to people, even people close to the Florida program, as successful as Sully has been over there, the game day atmosphere, and I've been to both places multiple times, the game day atmosphere is night and day. Florida State's an awesome place to go cover a weekend series. The fans just really love college baseball. The school really loves college baseball. And I know Florida's trying to make a better facility commitment, but they've got a long way to go in terms of fan base. So I think if you're a recruit or you're a coach out there and you look at Florida State, you look at the fans, you look at the commitment to baseball, that's probably one of the reasons why they're getting some of these kids to go to campus, because it's just such an incredible place to go play. They talked about making some pretty substantial renovations to Dick Hauser, and certainly that would help as well. That's probably the kind of the missing piece here. But for me, Florida State, I know a lot of people disagree here, but to me, Florida State is a better job than Florida. I understand Florida's doing some incredible things right now, but I think when you look at FSU, you look at the fan base and how much they care, you look at the facility that will come, I do believe they will make a stronger commitment there in the near future. To me, it's a better job, and so therefore I think you'll still see recruits continue to flock there.
Maybe they'll just hire O'Sullivan then.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
not. I don't think it's going to happen.
All right.
Kendall, before we let you go, Corey pointed out the fact that a lot of folks give, they don't get a good idea of who Mike Martin Jr. is because they just see that name. But obviously his offense has been so prolific. And the thing a lot of fans say is that, well, if he's so good, why didn't he go somewhere else? Why didn't he leave the nest, make a name for himself, then come back?
Sure.
What is the general perception or the reputation of Mike Martin Jr. in coaching circles and in the college baseball industry?
It's been really good. And, I understand that Mike has not gone anywhere else, but he has, looked at some other jobs, Auburn a few years ago. So it was whenever they hired Sonny Galloway, I believe Junior was in the mix for that. And so he looked at some other jobs before. At that point, Auburn went with Sonny Galloway, who had just gotten to Omaha with Oklahoma. So at that point, that obviously made a lot of sense to hire Galloway. But he's very well respected around the country. Certainly, when you look at FSU's offenses, who can't appreciate that? And he's certainly a great recruiter. So I get it. Like he's 11's son, but I think the guy's been a heck of a coach. And I really, again, I think I said this a second ago, but I would have been pretty pleased had they gone with, Mike Bell or Mike Martin Jr. I think both those guys are really, really talented assistants. And it'll be interesting to me to see if FSU gives me a chance to kind of show his stuff a little bit.
There's probably nobody more dialed into the college baseball world than Kendall Rogers, the managing editor of D1Baseball.com. Kendall, thanks for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
You got it, fellas. Be good. Have a good night.
Thanks, Kendall.
Folks, you're listening to Wake Up War Channel 97.9 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back after this.
These recruiting updates are nothing but fluff.
Are you wasting your time again on free blogs and social media to get the scoop on FSU recruiting?
Yeah, it's all bait and switch. Get me excited with a headline, but get nothing in return. You're on warchant.com. What's really going on with FSU recruiting?
Could be another top 5 class, but for the real scoop, you'll need to get your own War Chant subscription.
What's it cost?
Free. There's a 30-day trial offer. Just sign up and you'll get full access through signing day. And nobody has more accurate and timely information on recruiting than warchant.com.
You know I like free. Sign me up. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole source.
Baby, I think I've gone crazy.
Welcome back. It's Wake Up War Channel 97.9 ESPN Radio here in Tallahassee. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. The show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. There are 3 great locations in the College Town District, Madison Social, Township, and Central. What are you doing on July 28th, Corey?
I don't know.
You have plans now. Saturday Night Live. It's coming to Tallahassee.
Yeah. Well,
But not like Dana Carvey and I mean, who's on the program? Leslie Jones, Kristen Wiig.
yeah, Pete Davidson, is that
Yeah,
somebody?
that's the guy I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I saw his face.
Yeah.
Man, that guy's got more.
Keenan Thompson.
Yeah,
He's
Keenan
funny, the
Kel.
guy that does Steve Harvey, that Family
Fatburger.
Feud stuff. That's
Yeah.
funny. But I haven't sat down and watched, and this is obviously because I'm a jet setter. I'm always on the move. On a Saturday night, are you kidding me? I'm not going to be in front of a TV.
Of course.
I'm going to be,
Jet setting.
knee deep in something.
Whoa.
And anyway, I didn't mean it like that. Just, knee deep in fun, having fun.
Of course.
But I haven't sat down and watched a Saturday Night Live in probably 15 years. But, I see some of the clips on the internet, and Keenan Thompson's always my guy. I love the Family Feud.
Really?
Yeah, they make me laugh a lot.
Okay. A little bit of facetiousness. That's what Willie's calling his big sort of barbecue hangout. Everybody, all the big guys come out here, all the top dog recruits.
Right. And they want 10,000 people in the stands.
Oh, is that wow?
That's what Jeff Cameron said, and then he said anybody that would show up is a loser. Which, hey, that's him saying that. I get people want to help out their school and want to watch these. Some of them might be Seminoles in a few months. You might want to watch them. I don't know, what are they going to do? Run around?
Yeah.
Play flag football? Play
I think they're
cornhole?
going to have a 7-on. I think they're actually going to have like a 7-on-7 tournament kind of thing.
Oh, all right.
So
Well,
there's
that's
that.
something. Sure. All right. I guess that could be somewhat entertaining.
All right, so I complain about stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and complain about that. How many people are in the Moore Center that are making above the median income in the state of Florida, and we can't think of anything cooler to call than Saturday Night Live? Not that it's not cool, but like it's Saturday Night. Saturday Night Live is an actual show. It's
How about
a
Saturday
show.
Night Fever?
That's awesome. I like that.
Has that ever been used?
I don't think so.
Here, that's perfect to get set.
Is it Travolta in that one? Is
Yeah.
that when it does the whole
Yeah.
Staying Alive thing?
Yeah, that's Saturday Night Fever, and then Staying Alive, I believe, is the sequel.
Okay. There you go.
But Staying Alive is played in Saturday Night Fever. It's all BGs. You know how it is.
I don't think you can get made fun of for this one, though, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah,
I think it'll be all right.
but yeah.
I'm just worried about do something. I just think once if there's ever a bad stretch, which hopefully there won't be under Willie, but if you ever find yourself losing 2 out of the last 4 games,
Or if like they hold it on that Saturday and only like a couple dozen people show up,
it was like rainy and bad, like a
Saturday
nasty-
night dead.
Oh,
That place will be dead. Yeah. So I'm just saying you open yourself up to that too.
should be okay. That will be interesting to see who does come out because, man, I mean, there is the cult of the PRB, which is the Premium Recruiting Board on War Chant, and whenever we bring Michael Langston on the program, we get big numbers, huge numbers, huge. People love it. I saw somebody they think that like I shouldn't even be on the show because I bring nothing to the table because I don't know anything about recruiting either.
Well, yeah, but you
sorry.
know things about life. What'd you think about old Kendall saying that Florida was a better job than Florida State? Did that surprise you? Because it surprised me. That's why I joked about they should hire O'Sullivan.
I don't want to pull the curtain too far back to let people know what goes on here during the program, but usually Corey's got his feet kicked up on the desk, like in a very big power move. And
Right,
just
like
kinda,
I could take this job or I could leave it. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just here talking.
Yeah.
Right.
kind of just gazing up at the ceiling, just plotting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the next big segment I can do? How can I save Aslan from this horrible segment? What can I do to fix this show? And then as soon as he said that, we both, I mean, I don't want to say you kicked your feet off the table, but you perked up a little bit. I looked over
I'm
at
not
you.
going to go crazy. My feet are still going to be kicked up.
That's crazy. And I don't know. I guess it sounded like his basis was the fact that it's just a better game day environment. People maybe in Tallahassee appreciate their college baseball more than Gainesville.
I mean, honestly, historically, traditionally, Florida State has been the better job. It's been the better program. Obviously, the last half decade, that has flipped, but that's just a half decade. If you've been in college baseball like Kendall Rogers has, and you've watched Florida really, really underperform for the better part of 3 decades, considering the state that they're in and the money they were spending on him. I mean, they went and tried to get really big-time head coaches, and it finally took an assistant from Clemson for them to get over the hump. you would look at it and be like, well, they've kind of underperformed, and they don't care about baseball. That stadium's terrible. It's in the sun. It bakes you. Those fans, I've watched the regional games where if there's a rain delay,
Hauser's in like a walk in the leisurely park. Just it's breezy. We got the trade winds blowing through.
There's the overhang.
Right.
And at Florida, it's nothing, man.
They don't even have there's no
you're in the sun
backstop on it.
And if there's a rain delay, those fans bounce. Even if it's a super regional, they're gone. They're not the best fans.
They're not the best at anything though. But thanks
really.
for emphasizing that. Just in case people forgot.
Right. But I think they're building a new stadium, and they're obviously invested in him because they're paying that kind of money. I don't know that Florida State would ever pay. I assume he makes well over $1 million now. I don't think that Florida State would ever pay, or I shouldn't say wouldn't ever, but they will not pay their next head coach over $1 million to come coach here. So that was a little surprising that he said that, but I think traditionally and historically, Florida State has been the better program. But I would be interested if O'Sullivan quit tomorrow or said, this is my last year, 2019 is going to be my last year, what kind of candidates could either school attract? Because that would be when you talk about the best job, that would be my, counter to that is I think Florida, because the money they'd be willing to pay and the renovations they are making to that stadium, they're on paper, they're on record as saying they're making they are making the improvements. I think all of a sudden that becomes the better job because of the more money they have, because of the revenue disparity that we've talked about with the TV, and because of the renovations they're making. It's at least as good a job, But I think O'Sullivan makes that program, man. They've been well behind Florida State for a long time until O'Sullivan got there, and he certainly, led them past Florida State.
10-year, $12.5 million contract.
Okay, so that's not crazy. 10 years is a lot, but what's that? My quick math will tell me that's right around $1.2 million a year, or 1.2, right? Am I doing it right?
Shouldn't be a little less than that.
Yeah. So, So they're willing to go over $1 million. I don't think Florida State will do that. But hey, man, Florida State could say, if the money came, if Buster Posey or somebody just decided to donate his salary for next year, they could be like, you know what, O'Sullivan? Not that he would do this for O'Sullivan. He'd want me to get the job, but we'll pay you $2.1 to come to Florida State. But then you're losing money. No matter how good you are, you're losing money on college baseball.
You talk about Kevin O'Sullivan makes that program. But I don't know how much of it's his. It's his program, but it's not his program the way Florida State is Mike Martin. It's
correct,
not the way
but
it's
I guess he's the reason that right now when people will hear Kendall Rogers say that Florida State's a better program than Florida, they would almost drive off the road like, what? That's crazy. But that's because of what Kevin O'Sullivan has accomplished since he got there. Before he got there, Florida was always the third brother in the state. Yeah. Always. Now, wasn't close to on par with Florida State. Now they passed them, but I think that's O'Sullivan. I think that's the way he recruits. That's certainly the way he develops pitchers. You can't argue with what they do there as far as recruiting and developing pitchers, and that's why they are what they are right now.
I don't know if it would matter if O'Sullivan left for the bigs or if he left to, some school just gave him a Brinks truck worth of money. What's the tougher takeover, though? Like, you take over Kevin O'Sullivan, like, this program is moribund for, by and large, its entire history. Outside the last 8 years that this guy has had the thing rolling, would I want to follow that guy up who's made this thing into a monster with a bunch of fans who are pretty unappreciative and a place that doesn't have a lot of tradition, or would I rather go to a place like Florida State that loves and adores their baseball? At least they have that dedicated group of fans that do. But I am taking over. The guy.
Yeah, but again, I think you're not taking over for Nick Saban. And I love 11. He's been awesome with me, but championships do matter when it comes to the pressure and expectations when you take over a program. And he hasn't won one. So it wouldn't be quite that kind of pressure. Florida State fans will be like, okay, you got big shoes to fill, but they're not the biggest shoes to fill. You can fill them with one championship, and all of a sudden you're there. But I would think that, Florida State, to me, man, baseball-wise, I guess the reason you say it's a better job is because I have more faith than whoever replaces Mike Martin will keep this thing running more than I have faith that Florida's just automatically always going to be good at baseball again. Yeah. I don't know why I think that, but I just do. I just think that if Mike Martin Jr. takes over this job, or the guy from Texas Tech takes over this job, whoever, or Sullivan, I think the Florida State baseball for the culture that's been created the program around it, the way they recruit. I just think they're set up because they always do. It's just part of the DNA here that they're always good, and it's not that at Florida. That's been proven.
I can't even wrap my head around this program going 35-23.
It's weird, right? I thought we were doing
being
it last
a 3
year, not
seed
in 2017. I thought that's what they were on their way to a 500 season. I remember Mike Martin saying after they lost us another weekend series, saying we got to do what we got to do to try to get to the postseason because that was no guarantee. There was no guarantee they were going to get to the postseason, which is crazy around here. And they have gone to Omaha. And then this year, the same thing. They had some struggles, and then they got hot for the ACC tournament, and then didn't end that well. How did the season end this year? I don't forget.
About as bad as it could have been worse, right? Could have been the Gators that did that to us. Or
could have been a walk-off.
Could have been Arkansas. Could have been Arkansas. We could have been one out. We could have been a fly ball in foul territory away from winning a World
100%.
Series.
100%. Florida State can never lose a game as painfully as Arkansas lost the game. I can't even imagine another scenario. Maybe a pass ball on a third strike where it wraps up the championship and your catcher just inexplicably misses it, blinks his eyes at the wrong moment. I can't even imagine another scenario where you could lose as painfully as Arkansas did.
Yeah. So
there you go, Knowles.
Could always be worse. Could always be worse.
Yep, perspective.
Show will be better right after this. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Wake Up War Chant.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Friday edition of the program, Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Aslan. He is Corey. Fourth segment, final installment of the week. Corey, people think I brought a dogged Willie in the last segment. Wasn't dogging Willie. Willie's got enough on his plate. Just think somebody should be helping him out in the marketing. Help him give him a clever name to his recruiting thing. I think finally the Taggart intimate sit-down that warchant.com had with him over spring is finally going to be unearthed coming up in the coming days.
Have you been told that?
I spoke to managing editor Irish O'Fell, who said he spoke to senior writer and columnist for warchant.com, Corey Clark, who made a very good point about the fact that we should probably go ahead and uncork some of that stuff because
we're all about to get him for an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thought. That was my thought on it. So, yeah.
Is this going to be, I'm preparing myself to be a little bit underwhelmed. I've already looked at the layout of the hotel for the media day, and it's just they're doing 5 schools. They're doing 7 schools at a time in a day. SEC stretches it out over the course of 4 or 5 days, so I get it. But is this going to be a huge? Huge might be an understatement, but the country at large is going to get to discover a lot about Willie Taggart next week at ACC Kickoff, I would imagine, right?
When is SEC? Is it the same time?
Same week. It's running next week as well.
Then there's not going to be a lot of national people there. And that's just the way it is. All those, everybody that's a national writer, I would say 90% of them will be in Birmingham or Atlanta or wherever it is. Yeah. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's just the ACC media will get him for the first time, which mainly means North Carolina media will get him for the first time. But he'll knock it out of the park, I'm sure. He's an engaging guy, and it's it'll be interesting to see how I'm interested to see how old Cam and old B squared do up there.
Burnsy?
Yeah. I think Burns could be really good just because he doesn't seem to have a filter. But can
we call him Axe? Since his name is Burns, like Fire, Backdraft. Was the guy's name Axe? Or he's the bad guy in Backdraft, wasn't he? Man, or was it Bull?
I don't really remember that.
You don't remember
movie?
Backdraft?
I remember it. I don't remember
intimately that.
I remember there was a love scene on a fire truck.
That is true.
Jennifer
Jason Leigh.
Yeah, Earmuffs Kids. I remember that, but I was 17 when that movie came out, so of course that's what I remember. But yeah, I think I don't know if we're going to unearth things about Willie. I do. What I am excited about is writing the story about his interview process when he first tried to be a head coach, and then when he was a head coach again. I think that stuff he told us, and then I talked to one of the people that was in the room during the hiring process at Western Kentucky that gave me some really good stuff that I think is really interesting.
Exclusive content that will only be able to be found
guys,
at warchant.com.
You could try to click on it, and you might be able to read the first maybe 3.5 paragraphs.
We do give a good chunk of it.
Yeah, you'll get 3. So you'll get to see, wow, this guy can really write. He can really spin it. And then you're going to be like, man, I need to read more of this. And then it's going to start slowly fading to white.
Yeah.
Doesn't fade to black.
Yeah, it's going to ask you for your
Metallica
credit
told
card
us to do.
information.
Yeah, and you get a 30-day free trial.
Or Chant 30 is a promo code.
I like when I tweet a link to a story I write, a good column, maybe on Jameis Winston or whatever, and people get mad at me for tweeting a link where they have to pay to read it. It's like, man, we're all trying to make a living here, folks.
I think a lot of places actually will do parentheses and they'll put a $sign between it. So maybe moving forward, do that because it signals to the people that it's a paid content item and doesn't get them their feelings don't hurt as much.
I want them to think, okay, this might be free, but it might not. Let me check and see. Okay. And either way, I get to click. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying there, Aslan?
What about this big
A-Dog, A-Bomb?
What about this huge national footprint, the Eastern Corridor that the ACC has? Nothing, Willie's not going to get any, think it'll be a big pop for him maybe? People coast or up the Eastern Seaboard will get to know this guy that Florida State fans have fallen in love with passionately over the last 7 months?
Maybe. I don't know how many Boston writers will be there, or people from like the New York Post that covers Syracuse. I don't know that you'll have the big Eastern cities are usually
New York Times not going to be there. WAPO's not going to be there.
Yeah, Jameis isn't around, so the New York Times won't be there.
Hey-o.
That sounded like a joke, but it's the truth. They won't be there. They were. They won't be there now. But yeah, no, it will be mainly North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina writers.
Do you know who's going first at SEC Media Days?
Georgia? Alabama?
Come on. My guy.
Who's your guy?
Come on, man. How long have we been doing a show together?
Dan Mullen?
No, I'm pretty sure Jimbo's going first.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Get in and out, buddy. In and out. He'll be back on that horse.
What do you think? What do you think the chances are he says something along the lines of "It's great to be coaching in the best football conference in America"? The chances he says something about he
hasn't done that yet, has he?
I don't think he has. But if you're going to do it, this is when you do it.
Man, I think because he said it, and I know it
is incestuous, Corey. That entire week is incestuous.
I think he will do it maybe by year 2 or 3.
No.
Because he's going to be trying to explain away losses.
Okay.
But I think his first year, and he remembers, we all have memories, man, and it's all on record about telling us how great the ACC is. Best league in ball. Best league in ball. We play great ball here. He can't just all of a sudden be that transparent. I mean, they all are. We all are. We're all loyal to the dollar, to who's paying us. I get all that. I left a newspaper to go to its competitor. I mean, I can't blame him for saying that and for being loyal to the dollar, but I think he will really try to, because Tim Brewster got a lot of flack for it. He got on that on
Tim
Twitter.
Brewster has no shame.
Well, right, but I think Jimbo does a little bit when it comes to that, and I think it'll be a year or two until he starts touting the SEC and the SEC West is the best league in ball. That it's just different here, and that that's why we lost 4 games.
I'm stoked for Charlotte because we're going to get Willie on the show for the first time, be his inaugural appearance on Wake Up War Chant. I mean, I'm saying it, so it's got to happen now.
And maybe we should probably talk about it at maybe off air about what we're going to ask him. But I don't.
I'm going full. I'm guns a-blazing.
I don't think I'm going to ask him much about football.
Oh, don't be that guy.
I mean, what can we ask him? Oh, how's
DeAndre?
How's
doing?
Landon Dickerson coming along? Man, I don't. That's what we'll ask every other day for the next 3 weeks until September. We're going to ask him nothing but football questions. I want to get to know the guy.
Oh,
I want our listeners to get to know the guy. I want to know what his favorite movie is. I want to know the first movie he saw with his wife.
Okay.
I want to know what his kid's favorite movie is. That's weird. No, I don't. But I just want to, I know he's a proud dad of a good athlete, what that was like, because obviously I'm the proud dad of an incredible athlete.
Yeah.
And I need some pointers on how I'm going to deal with this in the next few years as he continues to develop. So I want to ask a few off-the-wall questions. It's not going to just be straight, who's going to be your quarterback?
When in sports journalism, or was it ever where we just started treating these guys, and I'm not saying this derogatory towards just Willie, but we can't really ask them anything that's going to make them a little bit uncomfortable. Has it always been that way as sports journalists?
I feel like we can ask people. You mean talking about their jobs or about their lives?
About their jobs, and I guess their lives. I would want to ask Willie, listen, you came from Oregon. How big of a shock was it when you walked into your office here? Or just walking around this facility? Because he's talked about, I always thought about Florida.
As far as like what he
yeah, and I'm not trying to demean Florida State, but just like those are the things that was. If we're not going to talk about ball per se, who's healthy, who's standing out, who are you going to count on, those kind of things. Like that's the sort of stuff I'd want to know about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that would make him uncomfortable. I think it's a nice office. We've been in it.
It is.
He done some things with it. He's still doing some renovation when we
call
talk to him.
That's a knockoff rug, though, and it's not a true Persian rug. It's not a handmade Persian rug.
But he did have a spear in there.
He did,
and it was lit.
Yeah.
And he had just stabbed a boar with it, which was weird. I thought that was not. I was kind of out of place because he knew he was going to have visitors.
I thought it was a tapir. A tapir.
Is that an animal?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It looks like a hog. It's like in the.
There's a razorback
in the Asian forest or whatnot. Yeah, I mean it'll be cool, and it'll be cool to kind of. I just broke the microphone. I think
sure
here.
Did.
Sorry, Tom.
That was impressive to watch.
Tom Lang. I've been working out, man. What can I say? I'm just going to hold the microphone like this the rest of the segment. Holding it's kind of weird. It'll be kind of cool to reunite with Cam. Talk to Cam like, hey, man, it's been a while.
Yeah, see, I think you're going to carry that one because I am interested what he was seeing with Cam. It would be like, man, how bad of a badass were you in like the 7th grade?
He was the dude.
6 touchdowns a game. Were you upset if you only scored 3?
Yeah.
That's the stuff to me that I'm more interested in than, how good is LeBourne or Patrick or how tough is Virginia Tech's defense. We're going to get into all that.
Yeah.
I like to ask the, more questions about their past.
So I'm straight up ask Brian Burns, is there any way you're here in 2019?
How bad would you have to be?
Yeah.
In your opinion, to not go to the draft?
Because I think Radio Row is a setting where we can probably ask some questions like that and probably get some frank, candid answers.
Also, it's not like a Radio Row that you're used to. There will be maybe 4 stations there actually broadcasting. Okay. It's not like the circus that the SEC is, where it's probably 50 or 60. Yeah. It's just not like that. So it's not as circus-like.
But no, I think this will give an opportunity. I think there'll be stories coming out from Willie, and people will get to get a better idea of who he is. And obviously, if you already love the guy, which a lot of you do, which is awesome, I'm not particularly averse to loving the guy, but I'm trying to be a little bit of a realist or whatever. Just because I saw the other guy win and we all loved him for a little bit, and then we started hating him. I don't like the whole roller coaster being a fan anymore. I'm still a fan. But I kind of told myself I'm not going to get crazy about it. I'm not going to get so up and down anymore.
Emotionally involved.
I'm not going to get peaks and valleys. I'm just going to kind of stay in the middle.
A little even keel. All right, that's fair.
That's all. I'm just trying to set everybody up for it. But yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a good segment of the college football public that's going to get a better insight into who he is, and then people are going to get jealous. They're going to be like, man, they got a good one.
So we're doing Monday show. I know we got to wrap up, right?
Yeah.
We're doing a Monday show, Tuesday show, Wednesday show, then Thursday and Friday will be from there. I
don't know if we're going to do a Wednesday show. I don't know if we'll have a show Wednesday.
But will Ira be with you on for the Thursday show? It'll be you and Ira.
It's going to be you and me.
Well, I won't be there.
Oh, you won't be up there.
I won't be there till
late.
I'll
probably be 5-star then.
Yeah, and then Friday it'll be you and I.
It'll be you,
and Willie,
and Cam,
and Burns.
Burnsy.
Although we might space those out maybe and carry them over to the next week.
We'll talk about it off air.
Off air, guys. Sorry, you were just talk about peeking behind the curtain. That was just a production meeting.
I know.
The first one we've ever had.
Fantastic. All right, man. That's it for Wake Up War Chant. It's a Friday, though. It's going to be, I think, another hot, oppressive weekend in Tallahassee. You have any words of encouragement to the people here in Tallahassee and beyond, Corey?
I mean, guys, obviously put some sunscreen on. SPF 60 if you're like me, or 80. But go have a good time. Don't get too hot. Don't overdo it. Take care of your loved ones because you are loved. And you need to love each other and yourselves and me more than anyone. And just, enjoy the heat, enjoy the country. It's still a good country. We still do nice things around here. Great show. It's a great podcast. You're lucky that we give it to you. So just enjoy life and enjoy this Friday and enjoy your weekend. And, tell your mom I said hey.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.